Hello, my name is William Mason, and today I'm going to talk to you about the inescapable conclusion that nuclear power will replace fossil fuels as the primary source of energy to generate electricity on the planet. Some people like to go running, and Kenny Loggins' song Danger Zone is the perfect song to run to because it has a rhythm that matches most people's running speed. 155 beats per minute is a good pace, but not if you're talking the population of the world. Our net growth of 155 people per minute should be the center point of any planning our world makes for its future. Any plans that we do make must start with providing for our energy needs. With world population growing by more than 1% each year, a similar growth in our energy usage can be expected. More than 75% of the energy we use is derived from fossil fuels. Since fossil fuels are non-renewable, our finite supply will be exhausted. Developing alternatives to fossil fuels is one of the most important challenges we face. Fossil fuels provide us with many of the components of modern life. A potent and compact energy source for our vehicles is only one use of fossil fuels. Rubbers, plastics, lubricants, and synthetic fabrics are derived from fossil fuels, while most of our electricity is made at plants that are powered by oil, coal, and gas. Since our thirst for fossil fuels will eventually be stifled by the inevitability of their exhaustion, replacements need to be found for all things that are derived from fossil fuels. For easily replaceable uses, prudence would dictate that we move sooner rather than later. This will conserve our natural resources for the uses that are more difficultly replaced. Our electricity use is that easily replaceable use. This chart of electricity generation fuels used from 1973 to 2010 shows that our reliance on fossil fuels has hovered near 2/3 of total generation, but that our overall electricity use has almost quadrupled in 37 years. Today, that represents over 14,000 terawatt-hours of energy that could be replaced by other sources. Alternative energy sources such as wind, solar, geothermal, hydroelectric, and others all hold great promise for powering our future. None, however, is sufficiently prepared to provide for our near future. All sources of electricity give cause for concern. Fossil fuels are a finite resource. Burning them creates exhaust, which is bad for the environment, while mining scars the land. Wind and solar cannot be depended on to provide power 24 hours a day. Each has also proven deadly to bird life. Hydroelectric power submerges thousands of square miles of land, and the failure of dams throughout the world has killed hundreds of thousands of people. Hydroelectric power is also at the mercy of Mother Nature, as demonstrated by the extremely low level of Lake Mead behind Hoover Dam. Massive releases of sequestered carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, a significant drawback of fossil fuels, is not such a problem with biofuels, since the carbon dioxide released was captured in the very recent past. From the point of view of pollution, this makes biofuels very attractive, but the mass cutting of forests to satisfy our rapacious appetite for energy would be untenable. This leaves nuclear power as the best immediate alternative to fossil fuels. Despite the terrible publicity the industry received because of the 3 Mile Island incident, the Chernobyl accident, and the Fukushima Daiichi disaster, nuclear power is still an extremely safe way to make electricity. More people have been killed climbing roofs to install solar panels than have been by the nuclear power industry. A misconception that a nuclear reactor can explode like the bombs used at Nagasaki and Hiroshima also plagues the nuclear industry, but this is completely false, as nuclear reactors are incapable of producing nuclear detonations. Nuclear power produces nuclear waste, but most of it is low-level waste that is not hazardous and is retained as a precaution. Even with this waste, the amount of nuclear waste produced is a small fraction of the wastes produced by an equivalent coal plant. While the waste from a coal plant is not high-level nuclear waste, it is still hazardous. This was demonstrated in 2008 when a retaining pond at the Tennessee Valley Authority's Kingston fossil plant ruptured. More than 1 billion gallons of fly ash slurry flooded the surrounding 300 acres, leaving homes destroyed. Though no one died from this accident, the spill has caused widespread environmental damage and has still not been cleaned up. Newer reactor designs make the future of nuclear energy very enticing. Pebble bed designs are made of materials that will not melt at any conceivable primary coolant temperature, eliminating the possibility of a meltdown. Liquid salt designs have been proposed which will use waste from other reactors as fuel. This waste would be dissolved in the salt at subcritical concentrations. Instead of fuel, the core would contain the moderator, meaning the fuel would only reach a critical mass when it flowed through the core. Solidified salt plugs would melt if there was overheating due to power excursions or loss of electrical power. This would allow the salt and fuel to drain safely away to a storage tank where it would solidify. A leak would also solidify as it cooled. The planet's resources are finite. When we have depleted them, we are going to need alternate sources of power. Solar, wind, hydroelectric, geothermal, and biomass are not well developed enough to meet our needs in the near future. This leaves nuclear as our only alternative. As our growth continues unabated, anything else would be a highway to the danger zone.